love every song. No, I really love this song.
Hey, it's me. So I literally just like this, well, not this moment, but like 2 moments ago decided like I should kind of vlog this just because. I am making some earrings right now to suit a very fun Halloween costume that I'm going to be doing this weekend with my friend. So yeah, I just thought I would kind of vlog that process. So yeah, what I'm making right now are the earrings for Lucy from Smoke Signals. She wears these, I'm like over to the side so I can put the picture here. She's wearing these, they look like an orange heart. I can't make out what material the heart is made out of, but the surrounding area of the orange hearts appears to be like a silver, like a metal. I don't have that, so I'm going to bead these earrings. So I picked in my little bag of cabs here and I found these like heart beads. They have like little holes in them. And I'm not going to actually use these for the project, but what I did is they seem to be like the nice, like the right size that I wanted. So I took them and I traced them on some Pellon and stabilizer. And what I want to do then is take these orange beads I have here. These are from Pow Supply. They're size 11 opaque orange beads. And they look pretty close. I had 2 other colors to choose from, but I thought these ones suited the most. And what I want to do is fill in this heart with the orange, and then I have these silver beads. I'm gonna do a couple rows of those, and then after that I'm kind of undecided with how I want to do like edging. I think I'm going to cut it out and then edge it with these silver 2 cuts. The earrings that she has aren't that big, so I'm trying to keep these like at a minimal size, but yeah, I think this will work. I've never edged with 2 cuts before. I hope that works out. But yeah, I'm gonna get started. So because I spent the last week binging on Bernadette Banner, I decided I would film this vlog Bernadette style, except instead of a crafty guinea pig, I would have a crafty kitty. Okay, so I haven't used any of these orange beads yet. So typically when I break into a new hank, I will actually cut all of the beads off the hank and then put them in a small baggie. I also clip off the tag and put it in the bag with the beads so I can never forget the color of the beads. Okay, so now that the beads are sorted, I'm going to grab my thread and pull about an arm's width of it. And now on to threading the needle and making sure that it's properly waxed, and then lighting up the ends to form a knot. And you know me, I'm beading 2 needles, so we need to do it again. I'm starting at the bottom of the heart by driving the bead thread through the point at which the lines meet. I am not, however, driving the needle through the line. I'm driving it through next to the line, and that's so the outside of the beads will line up with that line. And the reason for this is because I want the orange section of the heart to be true to size of the design. And if I drive the needle directly through the line, the orange section of the heart will wind up being bigger than what I drew. Now when I get to that center inner point of the heart, I'm just going to take the bead thread and tack it down instead of loading more on and continuing on. And then I will come up with that same bead thread to start a new line. And I'll only be doing this with the outer line of the orange and not with the fill of the orange. I typically tack down every 2 beads, but around these really curvy bits of the heart, I found it useful to tack down every bead, which really helped keep shape while beading around this really sharp curve. Once I finished the sharpest curve of the heart, then I went back to tacking down every 2 beads instead of 1 bead. And when I returned to that bottom point of the heart, the width of the beads that I had weren't the right width. They were either too much or too little. So I took those off and replaced them with one really wide bead. So of course I'm ending the line by tacking down the bead thread, and I'll come back up with that needle on the inside to do the fill. Just thought I'd pop in to show you how I dealt with this pain in the butt corner here. So when I got to the point where the gap that needed to be filled was really small, instead of continuing to bead in a circle, I beaded upwards on either side. So here's a good example of when to not shove your beads into gaps that they don't fit in. And if anything else, you can also put in the beads in a different direction to fill in that gap. I get asked pretty frequently how I keep my beadwork flat, and I think that this is one thing that people struggle with in keeping their beadwork flat, is not shoving in their beads into spaces that they don't fit in. So as you can see here, by applying the bead in a different direction, I can still fit in the bead lengthwise instead of widthwise, and it provides a nice even fill. Before tying a thread off, I just like to drive it through and back the material just one last time. Then go ahead and clip the threads and melt them into a little ball. Alright, fast forward a bit and I got both orange hearts done, and now it's time to start the silver outside. And I'm just starting it at the very bottom point again, just where I started the orange point. And since we're not doing an outline this time, it's totally fine to just tack down every 2 beads. So here we are. I just repeated those steps for 4 rows, and as you can see here, I added 1 bead there just to create that point. And yeah, it's time to get started on cutting them out and putting them together. You could tear away the stabilizer like so, but I think I'm just going to leave it instead and go ahead and cut around without getting too close to the threads, because you don't want to nip any of the threads that are tacking on your beads. Like I said in my materials video, you can line your beadwork with pretty much anything, but here I'm choosing just a white cotton and taking the pieces of beadwork, setting them on the cotton and tracing an outline for me to cut out. I of course suggest marking an outline for each individual piece and not recycling each piece, and of course marking them so that you don't mix them up. Keep in mind when you're tracing your beadwork piece, the line you're marking is actually going to be right outside of the piece. So to keep this piece of cotton from being bigger, cut inside of the line instead of directly on it. Now I want these earrings to be a little more crisp, so I'm taking my stabilizer and repeating the steps of tracing and cutting out pieces. This stabilizer will go in between the beadwork and the cotton. Then I whip out my trusty good spray adhesive here and spray it on the back in order to lock in those threads that can move or become damaged over time. This stuff is hella stinky, so ventilated area, keep away from children. And then I'm going to take the stabilizer and just press it directly on there, effectively gluing it on. You don't have to do this, but that's just what I chose to do. And then I'm taking them and setting them away from that so that they don't slide onto that glue and get glue all over the beads. Next, you want to give that glue time to dry so that you don't get adhesive all over your needle as you're driving it through. Clip off any extra of the stabilizer if needed, like I'm doing right here. Then you can lay the cotton over top and it will be time to get edging. So I'm going to first start the line by driving the needle through that bottom point of the heart underneath the cotton so that you can lay the cotton over top and hide the knot. So I'm going to be edging a single line of 2 cuts. So I will be driving the needle through the material kind of at the width of each 2 cut. So drive it from the front to the back, try and capture that cotton. And to both combine the cotton with the beadwork and finish off the raw edges, we'll be pulling the string from the back to the front by driving the needle back through the bead. This also allows you to add more beads to the line. Alright, now that I've circled back around, it's time to finish off. To keep that last bead straight and from getting wonky, I'm going to drive the needle in as close to the edge as possible, but angle it so it comes out the back where it normally would have. And then I'm just going to tie a couple knots just because I want to, but I'll still be burning the ends. Time to attach the hook. Now usually I will use jump rings, But because of the direction of the string here, I should be able to just attach the hook directly, when normally the string goes in a different direction and you need that jump ring in order to make your hook go on properly. So just pry open the hook here, and then I will find the point of which I want to attach it and very delicately attach the hook to the string. Then use some pliers and close the hook, and then you have yourself a pair of heart earrings worn by the Lucy in the famous reverse driving car in Smoke Signals.
Remember? We barter. Better be good.
Jeez, did your dad really do that?
Thomas, you're so full of shit.
Oh, then what happened?
And they plea bargained that down to being an Indian in the 20th century. Then he got 2 years in Walla Walla.
So what do you think?
Well, I think it's a fine example of the oral tradition. You guys got your passports? You're leaving the res and you're going into a whole different country, cousin.
It's the United States.
Damn right it is. That's as foreign as it gets. Hope you two got your vaccinations.